the next one we want to look at is the approval process. So when you go into your settings here and you go under process management, then we have approval process. So the approval process is like the feature that allows you to enforce a formal review or an approval flow. So for certain records like deals. So this is just going to help you to be able to approve some things before your team can go ahead with some things. So for instance, if we have deals in our pipeline and we want to be able to allow some people to approve that deal before the deal can get to closed one, or we want to be able to allow the finance team to approve that deal before it can move to closed one. So you can also say that if some deals or some codes are above a certain price, they should go through some approval process, or if a discount is passing through, if a discount is beyond a normal threshold of the company, they should pass through a an approval process. So we can set this up for Zoho CRM. So let's see how we can set this up. So when you click on add approval process, it is going to ask you the module you want to add this approval process for. Even for the custom module we just created, which is students, you can add in an approval process for this. So the best one I think is very important for a company to add in approval process is anything that has to do with money, or anything that has to do with sales. So, for instance, your deals, you need to be able to set up approval process for your deals, for your sales order, for purchase orders, for invoice. Yes, for invoice, especially if you are sending out invoice to customers, you need to be able to set up an approval process so that this invoice will not have any mistake. Maybe the finance manager should go through the invoice before it is sent out. You can do this for all of this custom module also. So let's set up approval process for deal. Oh, sorry, I chose accounts for deal, and we can name this. Let's name this approval. So you can name this whichever way what you want, and I'm naming this deals approval. And we can say that we want this approval process to happen when the deal is created, or we can say when an edit is made, or you can even say both. So you can click on add rule to this process. So when you click on that, the first thing you are going to see is you are going to see the rules that need to work for this approval process to go on. So we can say that if the closing date is a particular date, or we can say if the closing date is after a particular date, or we can even say if the closing date is tomorrow, then this approval process should go on. And we can also say that if the deal amount, which is almost like what is kind of important, so we can say if the deal amount is equal to a particular amount, or if the deal amount is greater than or equals to $10,000. So we can say if the deal amount is greater than or equals to $10,000, then this approval process should happen. So this is where you set up your criteria. So you can also use the close date. You can use the created by. This created by should work if anybody outside of your sales team is creating a deal. So you can say if it is created by, uh, if the created by is maybe a particular user, or maybe a particular if the person is inactive or is an active user, and the users are outside of the sales team, then you can set up this rule. So I will be setting up a rule based on the deal amount, and I'll be saying that if the deal amount is greater than or equals to $10,000, then this rule should happen. So now the next stage is to set up who should approve this deal. So we can say that before this deal is created or setting into our pipeline, a user should approve this, or we can say a particular role should approve this. So we can say maybe the CEO or the finance manager or the sales manager, whoever role should approve this. Or we can even say if it is a group that should approve this, maybe the sales team or the production team or the finance team should approve this deal. Or we can also say if it is the manager or if it is the record owner. So the record owner, which is the deal owner, should be the one to approve this. You can also say that. But for this, we'll be using a particular user. So you can decide to choose the CEO of the company or the finance manager of the company, and you can say for every deal that is more than $10,000, this particular person should approve this deal. So when you pick on the user that has been assigned, and you can pick multiple user, and that is something that is actually very good. So let's say Emma Glory is not on seat, or she traveled, or she is not around for a month, or she went for maternity leave. Another person can take over to also approve this. So we can pick in another user, and we can say if Emma Glory is not around, then the sales team should take over. And we can say anybody from the sales team should take over. So this is telling us that we can change this from anyone when we change this approval method to everyone. So that means if we're changing this to everyone, we are saying that everyone we are adding on this stage should approve this process, not just anyone. Everyone needs to approve. So if we choose everyone here, then we can choose everyone here. So this group or everybody in sales team must approve this project or approve this deal before it is created or edited. I think that would be a lot of stress because that would be too much people. So we can just use anyone here. But in case you are using everyone, you can also specify which order you want them to be approved. So if it is sequential or if it is parallel. So if it is parallel, that means anybody can, it can be in any order. But if it is sequential, that means Emma Glory must first approve before this group can approve. So that means the CEO can first approve this deal before the sales team can then approve it. But if it is parallel, anybody, it can be in any sequence. So since we are not using everyone, we are using anyone. So that means we cannot be able to change this to any everyone. So this will be anyone. So we can also say that we want to assign a particular task to this person so that if this deal is more than $10,000, a task will be created to assign. So we can say something like uh maybe something like please approve this project. Okay, let's add that in. Please. So we can say something like please approve this deal, and we can say the due date should be the record submission date plus, let's say plus the due date should be plus 3 days. So after 3 days, this person should have approved this deal. So we can keep this in highest and we can notify the assignee and we can click on save and associate. So now that has been added in for the who should approve. Then the next stage will be the action that needs to happen on upon approval. So let's say that anyone here approved the deal and they approve that the deal should be created or they approve that the deal should be edited, then we can do something. So now we can say if this is approved, then we can update this field and we can choose whatever we want to update. So we can say we want to update the deal owner to another particular user. We can say that we want to change the reason for the loss to something, or we can even say that we want to change the closing date to something else. So you can just like twist this whichever way you want, just change whatever field you want to change. We can even decide to change the amount. So if the amount is greater than $10,000, we can do this. And when you're done, you click on done. And okay, let me just add in something. So we can say type. Maybe you can just change the type to existing business and you click on done. You can even assign tasks. So after this approval has been done, you can decide to create a task for the deal, and you can click on please approve this project, and you can decide to associate with this, and you can also send in an email notification. So if this record is approved, you can decide to send an email to everyone on the team that this particular deal has been approved. So when you click on the create email notification, then you can decide to send, instead of sending to contacts, you can send to users. So you can click write the email template. You can um, check who you are directing this email to. So just choose users. And when you're done, you click on save and associate. That will be for the email template. Then you can also call in webhooks, you can call in functions also. So the next one is for the action upon rejection. So if they reject the approval, maybe you want them to change the deal amount, or you want them to change the sales terms and condition, or you want them to change something for the particular deal, then upon rejection, you can send in an email to the record owner. So you can say that you can select users and just select a particular template and send to these users. So you can say that I want to send to everyone approved, or you want to send to the requester manager, or select users, or you can also say this select the template, then you send to these people. Maybe everyone approved, then you click on the template also. Then you click on associate. I need to select the template. Let's just pick this. So I click on associate. So the person requesting the approval will be sent this email. Also, everyone approved will be sent this email. So you can just clear this if you do not want this, and you just click on associate. So upon rejection, you can also update a field. So let's say we have something like a field called approval status, then we can change the approval status to rejected. So this will allow us to be able to edit this field when this approval is rejected. So the same way we can also call webhooks, and we can call functions. And for the record modification, we can say while we are waiting for approval, we can allow them to be able to edit some specific fields. We can allow the field modification and say people can be able to edit the account name, or maybe the contact name, the deal name, but they cannot edit the amount. So if they're not going to edit the amount, don't select it. Then we want them to also be able to edit the probability, the reason for loss, and the stage. So if it is in a rejected state and you want them to be able to edit some things, you should also pick some specific fields, or you can pick all fields, whichever works for you. Or you can even say you don't want them to edit any field. So if they are still waiting for approval, you can say no field should be edited. And if they are in the rejected stage, you can select some things that you want them to be able to edit. So, for instance, if you are rejecting based on the pricing, you can allow them to negotiate for a you can allow them to ask for a higher budget from the client. Or if you are rejecting based on the discount allowed, you can ask them to reduce the discount. So whatever field you want them to edit, you can just select that. So if you want them to be able to edit the amount, you can put that, put the contact name, the lead source, just add in whatever you want to do. And for the process admin allows us to be able to add in some users that can be able to take control of this approval process. So let's imagine that those people that we put in here as those who should approve are not available, then the process admin can come in and approve the project. They can approve the project, they can edit. That is why they are called the process admin. They can do everything in the deals that we need approval in. They can approve, they can create, they can edit. They can also we can also allow them to be able to edit the record. So if you add in a user, we for the process admin, let's add in Emma Glory. And if we're adding her as the process admin, that means she's in control and she can approve these deals and she can even edit them. We can allow Emma Glory to edit. We can say Emma Glory should only edit the fields in here for the record and modification, or we can say Emma Glory can edit all of the fields. And we can also say that if Emma Glory should approve, we can send a notification to the original approvers here. So these are the original approval. So if Emma Glory, who is the process admin, if she's approving, an email should be sent to the original approvers, or we can still want to send in-app notification. So that is all the settings we need to do for the approval process. So when I'm done, I'll click on done, and my approval process has been added. So that means this process is only for deals that are more than $10,000. So if a deal is below $10,000, they will not be going through this process. So we can also decide to add in another rule and go through this uh, entire process we just did. And you can use a different criteria, like maybe the deal name is something, or if the tag is something, or if the probability is something. Yeah, you can also do this for pipeline. So you know how we have sales pipeline, and we can have maybe production pipeline, and we can also have maybe like the operation pipeline. I'm just thinking outside the box. So you can have this deal approval for pipelines, the based on different pipelines, and say that those in the production team should be the ones to approve the production pipeline, and those in the sales team should be the ones to approve those in the product sales pipeline. Okay, so that is how to go about the approval process, and that is it for approval process. If you're a business owner and you are still looking at your Zoho CRM account and you still feel there are some things that are currently off, or there are some things that are currently not working, your workflows are not working, your blueprints are not working, your cadence are not working, we can help you with that. We offer comprehensive audits, and we are going to look at everything that is currently not working in your Zoho CRM account, and we are going to help you on the next steps on how to fix everything that is currently not working. If you need your comprehensive audit, you can click on the link in the description below and you can book your comprehensive audit with us. And if you also like this video, or if this video is very helpful to you, do not forget to like this video and also share to every Zoho CRM users out there that you know, and also subscribe to this channel, because that will go a long way in helping us. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.